Are you nervous advertising on Etsy? Well, in this video, I wanted to calm your soul and explain exactly how advertisement works and how to use advertisement to grow your business, leverage the advertisement features that it allows you so that you can grow your store and start making money. Because it might be the reason why your store is just slowly turtling its way up to making any kind of buck. So stick around and I'll explain to you how Etsy ads work. Hi guys, my name is Vlad, and in this video I want to talk about exactly what are the misconceptions or what are the myths about Etsy ads and how you actually need to use that to grow your store. It's almost inevitable. Here's the thing, Etsy does not want to screw you over. It actually wants you to do good, right? It's a two-sided market, right? It wants the customers to be happy, but it also wants the sellers to be happy. And the sellers to be happy for two reasons, right? One, if you're successful, you're making more money, you're making more stuff, and they're getting more money for the, to take some money from you from every sale and your advertisement. So they make more money. So they want you to succeed. They don't want to screw you over. So it actually wants you to be successful. And so the way it does that is by ranking your listing on proper relevant keywords. So for example, when you create an advertisement or you advertise a particular listing, what Etsy does, it actually creates two listings, right? Weird, right? It actually doubles your listings. So if you advertise all your listings, the nice thing about that, just in theory, is it creates double of every listing, one advertisement and one organic listing. So that's just a benefit already, right? Is doubling your store. Isn't that awesome? But here's the thing. When you say put $20 a day, let's just say it's your first time advertising and you're going to put $20. Etsy's not going to use up that $20. Trust me. It's maybe even barely use up $1 for your listing your first day or maybe even your first week. It's also going to turtle its way up to the top, but it's going to be a little faster turtle than your organic one. And this faster turtle might then turn into an even faster turtle, and then it might turn into a bird someday to fly very fast and very to the top of this very high ranking keywords. But the way it does that is very interesting. So for example, let's say you are designing a throw pillow for Christmas with a reef on top and a personalization in the middle, right? So it's a personalized throw couch pillow with reef design, right? When it ranks, let's say we're going to take two keywords. Now it ranks, it's going to try out hundreds of thousands of keywords, but let's just say it initially starts off with throw pillows because that's what you have in your title, and having a proper listing, which I will make a video in the future on how to properly list your items. So make sure to subscribe because more information like that will come. But let's just say in your title, some of the keywords like throw pillows are there. So it's going to try to advertise on the keyword throw pillow. And then it's going to try to advertise on a reef personalized throw pillow. What it's going to recognize is that people what you're going to recognize is people on the keyword, when they're typing throw pillows, they're not only interested in Christmas pillows, right? They might be interested in a different type of Christmas pillows, or maybe they're interested not in a Christmas type pillow, they're just interested in a throw pillow. So the chances of people buying or the rate of them being interested in your listing on throw pillows will be less than those that are looking for a personalized reef throw pillows, because you're satisfying that keyword better than this one. So the rate of people searching, right, in the search bar, and them clicking on your listing is going to be higher than this one. Therefore, Etsy will recognize, I should spend less money on this one and more money on this one. The reason why it's going to spend more money on this one is because it's more relevant in this keyword, which means more likelihood of selling on that keyword, which you're technically should be okay with that. If you're paying the money only for the things that are relevant, that's a good thing, because that's where you're going to have a better chance of making money. And that's how Etsy works, right? So if you put $20, not only is it not going to spend all of that money right away, it's only going to spend money on relevant stuff, right? It's going to slowly try out different keywords, dip its toes in all these little keywords, and the ones that actually prove to be having better results is only going to spend money on those. So you can calm your soul knowing that it's only going to sell on the keywords that are relevant, okay? The other thing that it does, it builds an identification for that listing. What am I talking about? So when I said the rate of them searching, throw pillows and actually clicking on yours and not all the other competitors is going to be lower in that, because like I said, people want different kinds of throw pillows. But if they're typing in personalized reef throw pillows, and it's going to be higher on that because like, oh, there it is, right? It's creating that's what they've been looking for. So you want to make sure that you are titling your titles and writing your descriptions so that you're satisfying the right kind of keywords, or you're putting yourself on the right kind of keywords, helping Etsy out with the advertisement. So it's going to collect that data, the ratio. It's also going to collect the ratio of like, okay, they clicked on listing at a higher rate than your competitors, therefore you're going to be higher because the competitor is not doing a reef, they're just doing a mistletoe with personalized, right? That's a different thing. It's very similar, but customers want that circle reef, so you're going to be ranking higher than the mistletoe, right? But when they click on your listing, let's just say it is a unicorn, right? Let's just, for example, take that. Then they're going to bounce right back because like, this is not what I wanted, right? And so that's why it's important to have a proper thumbnail. Also going to be on my next video, so make sure to subscribe. So it's going to assume you're misleading, right? Or let's say a competitor does that, right? So it's going to mark that as a, hey, this is a misleading one, and your competitor might rank better because the time spent on his is 1 minute. And so you want to make sure that the more time people spend on your account or your listing is also a very important factor. So it's collecting the rate of search and click. It's collecting the time spent on your listing when they do click it, and they also collect things like, do they read the description? Do they scroll down to read the reviews? Do they select the personalizations, and do they add it to cart, right? Even if it's an abandoned cart, when they add it to cart, that's also information that Etsy collects, right? So over time, it's like an AI, right? AI is collecting information from people saying, hey, when they're asking for this one, let me give them this listing because this one does better than all the other ones. And so I want to be a good friend. So Etsy is pretty much a good friend when they ask me, hey, who do you know that might be selling, selling throw pillows? Like, oh, I know a guy, right? That's essentially what Etsy wants to be. And it wants to be a good friend, a relevant resource that people keep coming back to when they want stuff, right? So it's going to collect all this information and relay that to the customer to give the best result. So you're paying your money for relevant keywords. So you can calm your soul knowing that it's only going to spend money on keywords that are going to prove to be profitable. Amazon works a little bit differently. It wants you to figure that out on which keywords work and which keywords don't. So there was a time where I've actually spent $900 in like 4 hours, and and that brought me profit. But you can spend that much on Amazon, and you figure out, I shouldn't advertise on this, and you have that negative keyword research, and it's a whole nother system. But Etsy, the way it does that is it spends a little bit of money and it does that for you. So it has a better safety net. So you're not going to spend money on keywords that are not relevant. Imagine ranking to the top keyword of like pet bowl, and your pillow's right there, and just people click on that just because, oh, that's cute, and they'll just click, spending a bunch of your money for absolutely no reason. Especially if your listing is $1 per click, and they click 1,000 people clicked on it, you're just gonna spend $1,000 for window shoppers. That sucks, and that could happen on Amazon, right? But on Etsy, it starts very slowly, and it starts to find keywords that it's doing better, and it starts to disappear on keywords that don't do good, and it's just going to keep doing that, which means it's going to make more sales that way. So that's one good reason to advertise, is because it's going to put it in front of people that are interested in your product, and that's a great thing, right? So let's just say in theory you spend $20 on advertisement and you made $60. The second thing I want you to think about is, think of it in terms of ratio or percentages, right? Some people have a hard time to step over the idea to pay somebody money for something. And then that's something that's very difficult. I used to help my parents start an Etsy shop store, and they're okay when you're spending $20. But when you start to apply that same ratio to $100 or $1,000, let's say you spend $1,000 on advertisement and $1,000 on inventory, and then you just left with $1,000. It's a good ratio. My parents had a hard time to realize that they had to pay somebody $1,000. I'm like, no, think of it as a glass half full, that you made $1,000 that you wouldn't have otherwise made if you didn't spend that money. Now, obviously, if if to make that $1,000, you spend a whole month working on all those sales, then that you might want to think about for yourself. But if it only took you a full day's work to make that $1,000, hey, that's not a bad thing. I don't know about you guys, but that's good money, right? So advertisement is a great way to grow your listing, and think of it in terms of ratio. Now, another thing that is really important to mention is that, let's say that, remember how I said that it creates two listings, creates one advertisement and one organic listing. What happens is over time, your organic listing gets more traffic, because remember, you paid Etsy money, so it's going to get more traffic to that organic one at a faster rate than to an advertisement listing than an organic one. And so it's going to collect information, but it's collecting information for both listings. It's considering both listings as one listing, even though it just split those two listings. The information that it collects for both, which means over time, Etsy will have a better idea on what your listing actually is, which means your organic listing will rank better and higher on relevant keywords, because it recognizes that on a keyword, personalized reef throw pillow is where you're making the big bucks. Your organic one is going to start to rank higher, and more people will click on your organic one and not your advertisement one, which means the amount of money you pay for advertisement goes down over time in terms of ratio and percentages, right? So for example, let's say you spent $20 and you've sold $60 in sales. Well, over time, you might only need to spend $10 and make $60 in sales. And that creates a bigger profit margin. So advertisement creates a bigger profit margin. Remember that. Even if you're initially spending, say, $40 and you made $60, just know that over time you might get to a point where you're spending $30, $20, and $10 for that same $60. Okay, and then also remember that, think of it in terms of ratio, because you're making money that you wouldn't have otherwise had. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention before we go is that when you advertise, and let's just say that your listing is really not generating that much profit, right? Let's say you're spending $60 and you're only making $40 in sales. I'm going to turn off that listing. Well, not so fast, because what happens, not only are we collecting data, that's important, even if you're spending more, because you're investing into a listing, right? And by the way, my little soapbox moment here, let's say you're a photographer and you have an Instagram account, why is it that you spend so much money on your camera, on your lens, on your gear, and yet all of a sudden your biggest asset, which is your Instagram, all of a sudden you refuse to spend money on that? I think that's silly, right? If you're spending $5,000 on a lens, I think you should be willing to spend $5,000 on advertisement on Instagram, because that's one of your biggest assets. That's literally what brings you money. So that's a little soapbox moment. So don't be afraid to invest into your listings, into your Etsy shop, because you've already spent a lot of money on your inventory, with your time. Time is the greatest asset, by the way, and on your machines. You already spend money. Why all of a sudden that you want to stop investing into your store when the rubber meets the road, when it actually matters? So invest into your listings, right? Even if you're spending $60 and you're only getting $40 back, over time, that cost per advertisement is going to go down. And the last thing, by the way, I wanted to mention is that when people don't like your listing that they click on, and there's a lower ratio, like meaning you're paying more for advertisement, well, they're going on your shop and they're buying other stuff that Etsy's not always showing you very clearly, or that you're not considering sometimes. Let's say you're selling a reef throw pillow, but they went on your shop and they bought two other stuff. That's really cool. That's really nice. And you have to understand that people don't always buy one thing. If they're shopping for Christmas stuff and you have a bunch of it on your store, they might add 5-10 items on there, and you thought that you spend too much money on this advertisement. It's a bigger system than you realize. So advertisement might be the reason. If you're not advertising, it might be the reason why you're turtling your way to the top. And advertisement might really just give you that boost that makes you the money that you wouldn't have otherwise had. And don't forget to invest into your store. And if you have an Instagram account for your store, say home decor, if you're selling throw pillows, don't forget to advertise on that as well, because you are trying to grow your business. Invest into your digital footprint and invest into your brand, and that's the best thing you can have. and advertisement is just the way to go. At least it's the first step to do it. So if you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment on the bottom. I do reply to those. As this video has been made, I've had one comment on one of my videos, and I was really happy to reply, and I actually did some research on that comment. So if you have any questions, I might even do a little more research to help you out. So if you're in the early stages of this YouTube, make sure to comment now, because I will most likely give you the answer, and I'll give you a very relevant answer, because I'm excited to reply to you guys, because I know a lot of stuff. I mean, I've been around. I'm the top. I don't want to flex. I don't want to flex, but I'm the top pet product seller. I sell the most out of all the pet shop on Etsy. And in fact, I doubled the second place. So I do know what I'm talking about. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment, and I'll see you on the next videos.